Hello everyone. This is Zakir Hussain. So today we are going to see about the scope of our psychology subject. Since it's a vast subject, we are just dealing with various branches of psychology, and today we are going to see the scope of psychology. So what does that mean, the scope of a psychology? So the field of psychology is continually expanding to encompass a wide variety of phenomena that are of interest to the scientific fields. Then the scope of this psychology is being constantly extends to include a wide range of phenomena of scientific interest. So that's why this day by day, the psychological branch is just increasing day by day. So usually the researchers or the persons who practices this particular field is called as a psychologist, and the particular person who is just conducting research in that one is called as a investigator. So these investigators are interested in wide variety of fields, including psychology, graphology, and astrology. So what does that means about the parapsychology? So there is nothing but one type of pseudoscience, we can say. So then the term parapsychology, which is also known as psi, just simply and psi phenomena. So which originates from a para meaning. That para meaning is nothing but an along the side. And psychology, we know that it is nothing but a study of mind. So this parapsychology, the people who practices this one is called as a parapsychologist. So usually this parapsychologist study a number of apparent paranormal phenomena, which includes the number of ostensible paranormal phenomena like telepathy. So as you can see in this picture, telepathy. Then next picture, if you see, this is a precognition, we can say. So as you can see in the third picture, this is called as a clairvoyance, we can say. As you can see in this one, this is called as a psychokinesis, we can say. And this next picture is nothing but an near death experiences. And next picture is a reincarnation. So this all comes under the parapsychology phenomena. So individually, we will try to discuss each and everything. So what do we mean by telepathy? So telepathy is nothing but a transformation of information based on thoughts or feeling between an individuals by means other than the five classical senses of exchanging an information. Like what are the classical means of exchanging an information or communicating with each other? That is nothing but through seeing, that is a sight. The next one, hearing, through hearing. Then taste, smell, and touch. These are the five senses of our communicating, classical senses of communicating. What are they? That is nothing but sight, hearing, taste, smell, and touch. So here, in the parapsychology, that is in telepathy, what happens? We will transfer our information or on thoughts or feelings between individuals by other means. Okay, excluding the means of classical means like sight, hearing, taste, smell, and touch. Excluding this means we are just transferring our information from one individual to another individual. That is called as a telepathy, as you can see in this figure. The next one is called as a precognition. So what do you mean by precognition? As you can see in this picture, this is nothing but an perception of information about future plans or events before they occur. So they can predict the events or the future or the places which are yet to be occurred, okay, which are about to occur. So they will predict that one. So through many movies, we can see this precognition types of issues who can predict the futures also. The next one, if you can say, this is called as a clairvoyance. So what do we mean by clairvoyance? It is nothing but an obtaining an information about places or some events of a remote location, probably the remote location, by means which are unknown to the current science. So that's why this parapsychology, which is the including the study of this clairvoyance, is an example of a pseudoscience, we will call. Why? Because they are at untraceable to the current science fields or some current scientific knowledge. That's why they are calling it as a pseudo conscience or pseudo science, we can say that one. And next, you can see in this picture, this is called as a psychokinesis. Psychokinesis, as you can see in this picture, this boy is just fixing his hand. By fixing that hand, he just realizes that the behind him some car is there that is just scrapping. So why this is happening? So what is this definition of this psychokinesis? So it is nothing but an ability of the mind to influence matter, space, time, or energy by means unknown to the current science. This is also how it will happen, how this in the particular picture, whatever the action which is happening, how it is happening, we don't know. For the current science, it is untraceable. This is also a pseudoscience. So once again, I repeat. So psychokinesis is nothing but an ability of the mind to influence matter, time, space, or energy by means which are unknown to the current science. It is called as a psychokinesis. The next one, if you see the next picture, that is called as a near-death experiences. Majority of many people, many movies and everything reports this near-death experience. What does that means about the near-death experiences? So that is nothing but an experiences reported by a person who is nearly dead or who experienced a clinical death and then revived once again. So majority of the newspapers, when you see the news, when you just listen to that one, so many people will say that clinically somebody has been declared dead and they have carried them to the graveyard. Suddenly that person will be once again revived. So how does that happen? That is nothing but a near death experience. They are clinically declared dead, but once again, they can revive once again. So this near death experiences, whatever I have said, that includes the one or the more of the experiences, such as a sense of being dead, a sensation of being floating above this one's body and seeing the surrounding areas. So that is also one type of near death experience. Then we can say a sense of overwhelming or love or peace. All this comes under this near death experiences. Then we can say a sense of a sensation of moving upward. Our soul is moving upward through a tunnel like this. This is also one type of near death experiences. Next, we can say an encountering a being of light, something, a being of light. We have suddenly encountered something. So that is also comes under the near death experiences. So then next one, the parapsychology is nothing but reincarnation or reincarnation, we can say. So reincarnation. So that is nothing but an rebirth of a soul or other non-physical aspect of human consciousness in a new physical body after death. So after that, what happens? This rebirth will be happening of the somebody's soul that will be clearly reincarnated, or reincarnation will be happening in the other body or new body, we can say new physical body, we can say. So it is the special, it is very specifically the death cases of the reincarnation types. So that is the case where in which the young child spontaneously he will be just revealing the something like his past period or past something events has been happening, something like that, especially the younger childs. Okay, somebody will say as a father they will say that my son is nothing but is same behavior as that of my father, that is nothing but his grandfather. So why that is happening? That is due to the belief that it is reincarnation. That is nothing but our soul is completely transformed to a new body, new physical means. So that is nothing but a rebirth. So that is the central belief of our Hinduism. In the Hinduism practice, what happens? So this rebirth is the concept. Rebirth is the basic concept or a central concept which was practiced by our Hinduism. So reincarnation is nothing but a rebirth of a soul or other physical or non-physical aspects of a human consciousness in a new physical body after death. That is called as a reincarnation. So it is that specifically the death case of a reincarnation type, which is the case in which young child spontaneously makes remarks about his past life, okay, past event, something like that. So that is called as a incarnation. So that is our soul is just being fitted into somebody else's body. So that is also a central belief of majority of this Hinduism. Hinduism practicing people might be knowing that one. The next one we can say this graphology. What do we mean by graphology? Predicting about our personality. Okay, predicting about our personality depending on our handwriting, whether how this limbs are inclined towards the left, how that writing has been inclinated to the right, or how our notes of this particular words we are using that one. Okay, top words or bottom words towards the right, towards the left. Okay, so that is nothing but inference of a character from a person's handwriting is called as a graphology. So inference, what does that means about the inference? So inference is nothing but an conclusion reached on the basis of evidence and reasoning. So there will be some basic rules in reading this handwriting, how our handwriting is there, or how we are writing. So all this depending upon the set of rules, the predictions, the set of rules, the conclusions which has been drawn through the evidences and through some reasoning, why that is happening. So that is called as a graphology. The next one is the astrology. So we all know this popularly. The astrology is nothing but a study of the movements and relative position of celestial bodies, or we can say stars and galaxies, which are interpreted as having an influence on human affairs and the natural world. So we are interpreting from the good olden days itself. We are finding the relationship between the stars and the galaxies and our movement here in the on the earth. So the astrology is nothing but a study of the moment or relative position of celestial bodies interpreted as having an influence on human affairs and the natural world. So that is called as an astrology. So this, we can say, the scope of astrology is not only limited to just abnormal studies. So para psychological studies, graphology, astrology, every aspects, every scientist, every psychologist who is working in that one, they may be aware of all these facts which are undergoing, which are just going on throughout our radars. So research on people. So psychology is nothing but research which is conducted on a people. Also we can conduct, or together in a whole community or communities also we can perform the psychological research. So usually the study of this psychological research will range from the investigation of individuals or investigation of communities, investigation of organizations, investigation about the nations, all are covered by the psychological studies. So these are all comes under the psychological studies. You can study anything. So next one, if you see, the psychology examines various types of people, right from the types of people like from mentally retarded person to the mentally to the genius people like the Einsteins, their brains, how they will behave, what are the mental processes of that mentally ill people, what are the processes which are experienced by the self-actualization people, as we can know that one. There will be a proper balance between mentally ill people and this particular genius people. Okay, the study about all these peoples, all realms of our life is nothing but a psychology. So what does this means about the self-actualization? According to the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, there are five needs will be there. So that is the first one need is called as a physiological needs. That is nothing but air, water, food, sleep. We can say this reproduction, clothing. So everything comes under the shelter. Everything comes under the physiological needs. And next hierarchy of needs, as you go through the pyramid, so next hierarchical need will be the safety needs, we can say. So like personal security, we want a job, employment, resources, health, property, everything comes under this second stage of hierarchy, that is called as a safety needs. And like a third, as you move towards the pyramid top, so third type of hierarchy we can encounter is a love and belonging. A sense of love and belonging needs will be there. That is friendship we want to do. We want a intimacy. We want a sex. We want a family. We want a source of a sense of connection we want. That comes under the third stage of hierarchy according to Maslow's hierarchy theory. And fourth theory is the esteem needs. We want a respect. We want a self-esteem. We want a status. We want a recognition. We want strength. We want a freedom, everything. This comes under the fourth stage of needs, that is the esteem needs. And the final stage, so where we desire to become most of that what we are, what we can. So that is called as a most important need of Nicholas theory, self-actualization. So the people from the mentally retarded or mentally ill people to the self-actualization stage people, everything is called as a psychology will do all this process. So the professionals who are practicing this particular field is popularly known as a psychologist. So psychologists are very much interested in a wide variety of phenomena. So right from the egotism to the altruism, or from truancy to the delinquency, or to criminality, from psychopathy to the spiritualism, from peace to violence, terrorism, and war, from plant behavior to animal and human behavior, and more, whatnot. So psychology is expanding in every field. So what do we mean by egotism? Egotism is nothing but a self-center or self-interest. The fact of being excessively conceited or absorbed in oneself is nothing but an egotism. So people who are egoistic, they will be an self-interested. They will be interested only in their self. So psychology involves studying the egotism also, and to the people who are experiencing the altruism. So what does it means by altruism? It is nothing but disinterested and selfless concern from the for the well-being of others, or we can say in short, selflessness, self-sacrifice. People who are experiencing the self-sacrifice, they are called as a altruism. So psychology is nothing but psychologists usually studied the people who are experiencing the egotism to the altruism. The next part is the from truancy to the delinquency to criminality. What is this truancy? This truancy is nothing but the action of staying away from school without any good reason. Like if you are a teacher, you can understand that one. Majority of the students will not attend the classes. So they will say something, they will reason out something, a bad reasons they will give. Okay. So like a fever, I'm suffering from a stomach pain, I'm suffering from a fever, unnecessary things they will be just murmuring about that one. So that comes under the truancy or absenteeism, we can say in simply words, or non-attendance, or playing a truant way. In a truant way, they are playing with us. So that comes under the truancy. Then delinquency. So what does that mean? A delinquency, that is nothing but a minor crime. So especially that has been committed by this particular young people, comes under the delinquency. And criminality. So criminality, we all know very well, criminality is nothing but which has been forbidden. The activities which have been forbidden by the criminal law is nothing but a criminality. Forbidden by the particular state law of a criminal law is called as a criminality. So people experiencing a truancy to the criminality or delinquency, all this will be studied by the psychologist. Some from psychopathy. The next one is a from psychopathy to the spiritualism. So what does that mean by psychopathy? The psychopathy is nothing but a mental illness or a mental disorder. So recently we came across many of the things. Somebody is just behaving like a psycho. So they are behaving like a psycho. Why they will do that one? So all this will be studied by this particular psychologist. The next one is spiritualism. So what do we mean by spiritualism? A system of beliefs or a religious practice based on supposed communication with the spirits of the dead. Usually spirits of the dead, they will have some spiritual connection. So especially through medium, some space, they will have a connection. That is called as the inner peace or inner spiritualism. So spiritually enlightened people are also studied by this psychologist. Then the next one is from peace to violence. So we need distress. Calmness is called as a peace. Then violence, we know that's one. Violence is nothing but a behavior involving a physical force intended to hurt others or damage others or kill someone or something is comes under the violence. So this is entirely a discouraging aspect. So violence need not to be encouraged. The next one is a terrorism. So the unlawful use of violence or intimidation, especially against some other civilians, okay, civilians in the pursuit of a political aims or some selfish goals in the pursuit of a selfish goals. So whatever the violence activities that are being done, that comes under the terrorism. And what does it mean by war? We know that popularly many world wars and everything has been happened. A state of armed conflict between countries or between different groups within a country. We can say that as a war, a state of war. So psychologists will study the state of war, terrorism, violence, peace, and everything. From right, it also studies the plant behavior. So plant, how they are germinating and everything that will also be studied. So the psychologist will have a background of biology also, okay, philosophy also, okay, a physics background also, any background, any engineering background, any background will be having by this psychologist. So plant behavior they will study, then animal behavior, especially why they are behaving like that, human behavior, why they are behaving like that. So everything, what not, the psychologist will study any of the events, any of the process which are undergoing by us in our day-to-day tasks and daily lives. And it is not a surprising that modern psychology has been sometimes commented to be a psychotic octopus. So usually this modern psychology is classified as a psychotic octopus. Why? Because that stretches and catches everything that comes across it by its innumerous ever lengthening limbs. So through its ever increasing or lengthening limbs, it will be just catching out all the facts which are going throughout the world. So that's why it is called as a psychotic octopus, or the modern psychology is called as a psychotic octopus. So that's what for today. Thank you very much. Please do subscribe to my channel. Thank you.